one of the interesting effects of the sin of the golden calf was that while the Jewish people dropped down in terms of their spiritual level, Moshe, our teacher, our leader, rose. He had been instrumental in saving the Jewish people. Hashem had wanted to wipe out the entire Jewish people after the sin of the golden calf. And Moshe had pleaded and prayed on their behalf that they be saved. As a result of his great success, he rose in spiritual stature. And the effect of this was that his face then radiated with a spiritual light, an unbelievable spiritual light, and radiated to such a degree that he needed to cover his face with a veil. So that he had to cover himself with his face with a veil, so that regular people would not be able to feast their eyes on the spiritual light that radiated from his face, these rays of light that radiated from his face. The only exception was when he taught Torah to the Jewish people, he then removed the veil, because the veil would take away from the Torah lesson. He felt that for a Torah lesson he would be allowed to show his face to the Jewish people, even though they would be enjoying the spiritual light which they were not entitled to. But to wear the veil would just take away from the magnificence of the Torah, and therefore he removed his veil specifically for teaching Torah to the Jewish people. The observation made from this is that we see that the whole difference between absorbing the grandeur of the Torah and just missing it completely is just a thin piece of cloth. A thin piece of material would make the difference between appreciating Torah, understanding Torah, embracing Torah, and just missing out on it completely. This carries a message for us also. Sometimes we are we're incapable of really absorbing the message of the Torah because our eyes also are covered up with a thin piece of material. And that thin piece of material is our own interest, our own attachment to the material world. We become blinded by the material world. We become obsessed in terms of gaining material possessions, and this takes away our ability to see the grandeur and the majesty of the Torah. What we need to take from this as a message is to try and divert our minds, refocus our minds, move our minds off gaining for ourselves and enriching ourselves with material wealth, and substituting such an interest with an interest, a greater interest. We have to elevate our interest in acquiring Torah and understanding Torah and appreciating Torah. This way we can get to remove this material veil, this veil of materialism, and be able to appreciate for ourselves the grandness, the majesty, the beauty, and the power of the Torah teachings, the Torah's great advice, and the Torah's guidance that can help us to reach the highest spiritual levels.